Good morning, everyone. It's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. I have some quick and simple little cards that I want to share with you. Just kind of a fun little design technique. So I was kind of playing around with some different design ideas, some different card layout ideas. And I was using my circle punch, and I just kind of came up with this strange but kind of fun little idea. So I want to share that with you today. So we are going to do some little circle shapes here off the corners of our card just to kind of give it a different look. And we're going to use two different pieces of pattern paper. And I'm going to show you how to do this. We're actually going to cut out these circular shapes on both pieces of the pattern paper, so on the floral and on the polka dot one. We're going to do that both at the same time. So I'll show you how to make two cards with that. And then I'm going to show you how to take the leftover pieces from creating these first two cards just to create another simple little card. So good morning, everybody. So what you need to do, the supplies that you'll need are some designer paper. And my designer paper is cut at 5. So it's 5 on this side. It's 3 3/4 inches along the top. So you want to cut out two pieces that are exactly the same size because we're going to punch out the little circular shapes together. So let me move these. I'm going to grab my punch here. So I'm using a 2-inch circle punch. It'll work with any circle punch that you have. I just like the 2-inch one because I just want to make my circular shapes just a little bit bigger. Now, one of the key things that you should keep in mind as you're doing this is you want to make sure that you have two pattern papers that are going to work well together. So I chose kind of a bold or busier pattern for one, and then kind of a smaller pattern for the other piece of paper that I'm using. That way, when I put them together like this, I get some nice contrast between the two and it's not too busy. If you choose two very busy patterns, it's going to be hard to see the different design that you're using. So, okay. So what you're going to do after you cut your pattern paper, you're just going to put your pattern paper together. And so this is the trickiest part, you guys. So I'm going to cut the circular shape into two corners. So I'm going to do this corner and then I'm going to do the opposite corner. You could do all four. I did try that. I didn't quite like it very much. Maybe it's because I had too big of a punch. I'm not sure. But you could try it. You could play around with it. So what you're going to do is slide both of these pieces of paper into your punch. Now what you want to do is slide it down just far enough that it doesn't punch on the other side. So let me bring this a little closer. So I don't want it to go all the way through. I just want it to be kind of to the end of where this circular shape is. You know what I'm saying? Here, across here. And then I'm just going to punch this out as soon as I get it straight. There we go. So punch those out. And we'll set those aside. And then we're going to take the top. We got to rearrange our paper again. We're going to flip it over and we're going to do the same thing on this side. So we'll slide that in. And then this kind of helps, make a little guide for you so that your circular shapes are almost the same size on both ends of your pattern paper because you're kind of lining up this point here with the bottom of the punch. So punch this one out. All right, so these are the top pieces, these are the bottom pieces. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to separate these, and we're going to take the pieces from the floral, and those are going to get added over here to our little polka dot piece. And then we're going to take the pieces from the polka dot and we're going to put them over here. So because I punched these together, there we go. Because I punched these both out at the same time, they fit perfectly. Well, they don't look perfect, but they will in a minute. They fit perfectly in here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just scoot this over to the side. We'll just do one at a time. So now I'm just going to take this is a 4¼ by, I'm sorry, excuse me, 5¼ by 4" piece of white cardstock, and we're just going to adhere this piece on there first. So I'm going to use some liquid glue because it gives me a little bit of play when I adhere it, since I'm adhering such a weird shape to my cardstock. All right, let's do this. All right, so we're just gonna adhere this, and we'll just kind of slide it around a little bit until we get it where we want it. And now I'm gonna take these pieces and we're gonna add these into those little spaces, and they should fit perfectly. And again, I'm using liquid glue just so I could slide it around a little easier in case I don't have it lined up perfectly when I get it in here. So there's one. So it's just kind of a unique little design, kind of a fun way to use your little circular shapes that you have on hand. And like I said, I'm using a 2" circle, but you can use a larger one, or you can use smaller ones if you want to do it in all 4 corners. I think because I'm using that 2" shape, when I try to do, you know, another one on each side here, it just it was kind of too much. Okay, so there's one. And then the second one that we already have cut out, we'll just add that to another 5¼ by 4" piece. Let's add some glue here. So the paper I'm using is from the Best Dressed Designer Series paper pack. So it's got a lot of pretty florals in it that are perfect for this. But this will work with any pattern paper, so just kind of take a look at what pattern papers you have on hand and find a kind of a real bold pattern, and then find a kind of smaller pattern that'll work well together, and you can do this. All right, and this one I'll go over here. And then the other one at the top. Even though I flipped my top around here. So there you go. So now we have 2 little backgrounds that we can use for our cards. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere those on my card bases. So I'm just using some lovely lipstick cardstock. And that's because it coordinates with the designer paper that I'm using. So we'll just adhere that and see how pretty that looks. All right, and then here is the other one. And then the last thing we need to do is just add some kind of focal point, some nice little sentiment. So I have my Celebrating You sentiment all ready to go. So I'm using the Celebrating You. This is from the Birthday Jubilee stamp set, so that's this one down here. So I'm just using that to decorate the center of the card. And then I just stamped it on one of those stitched labels. I haven't used these labels in a while, and so I thought it would look really pretty with one of these labels, right? And so here's the other one. And then you can go ahead and add, you know, some pearls or whatever you want, whatever kind of embellishment you want to use on here. I think it looks pretty just by itself, just like this. And then you can also use your designer paper. If you want to use some of your leftover paper, instead of making another card, you can decorate the inside of your card with your pattern paper. Okay, so I'm going to move these out of the way for the moment, and I'm going to bring in the extra pieces that I had. So besides creating these 2 cards that I just showed you, besides creating these little fun circular shapes on here, I had some leftover pattern paper because I'm using the 6 by 6" Designer Series paper. So I just took it and cut these down just a little bit, just to make just to make a card, another card. So I didn't have a bunch of leftover paper. So basically what we're gonna do is we're just gonna create a little panel card. So I'll show you here. So these pieces are 5 inches long. All these pieces are 5 inches long. The middle piece is 2 by 5. And then the outer pieces are 3/4 by 5. So I just cut down the pieces to make this little panel card, because I think this piece is about 2 1/4 inches. So I just cut it down to 2. And it's a great way to use up your paper so that you don't have to store it. So you can actually make 3 of these cards from one 6 by 6 inch piece of pattern paper. And then we'll put a little celebrating you, just like that. There you go. So you can make your 2 circular shaped cards, and then you can also make a panel card with that one 6 by 6 inch piece pattern paper. All right, so let me move these out of the way because I have a couple more to show you. So I took a bunch of different pieces of pattern paper just to give you an idea. So here are some more cards that I created. So this is just with some of the purple posy cardstock is what I have in the background here. And then I just used 2 different pieces of pattern paper to do the exact same thing I just showed you. So this one, these are the 2 circular ones. And then this one is just the panel card. So that's what these are. I don't know if you guys can see all these. Is there enough room in there? And then these, I think, are my favorite. Well, I like them all, but I like the purple and green together. So this one, these are your circular pieces. So I have that bold purple and green pattern for my circular pieces there and for the background here. And then I have a little polka dot pattern that I put with it. And then this is the last one. This one is the panel card that I used the leftover scraps with. So I got a lot of different cards here. So it only took 3 pieces of 6 by 6 inch pattern paper to create 9 different cards. So, all right, you guys, I thought I would just come on and share a couple fun ideas with you. If you want additional information on these cards, you can find it out on my blog. So I did link to that in the description with this video. So you can find all of these cards out there, all of the dimensions in case you missed it. So I hope you all have a wonderful Mother's Day. Enjoy your day. Go into your craft room, take some time for you, play around with all your fun stuff, and have a great day, everybody. Take care.